Good morning. I'm Bud Benefield, one of the elders here at the Bowden Church of Christ, and wanted to speak to you this morning for just a brief moment about our worship services and the terrible COVID-19 virus and the terrible COVID-19 infection that our country and our nation is currently dealing with. We know that Paul, in the book of Romans, specifically in chapter 13, reminded us that let every person be in subjection to the governing authorities. For there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. Therefore, he who resists the authorities resists what God has appointed, and those who resist will incur the judgment. It was with prayerful consideration that the elders of the congregation sat down and made the decision that we wanted to do always what's best for the congregation, both spiritually, emotionally, and physically, for their physical health and well-being. We discontinued our services, as most assemblies did, in complying with the governor's order in March. We're pleased to announce that the awful COVID-19 virus is showing some signs of having had relief in our area. The local hospitals are telling us that their admission numbers are down. Our local and state government and along with public health, we continue to monitor those reports daily. And one of the things that we have determined that it is now the opportunity for us to resume our worship services on somewhat of a limited schedule and a limited availability. Meaning that on May 17th, the elders have decided we will once again resume public worship services with some adjustments made to our normal Sunday morning services, with the schedule somewhat differing. We take into consideration as well the size of our building, the social distancing policies that have been recommended to us by our local authorities, the state authorities, and the national authorities as well, maintaining our 6-foot distancing. So beginning on Sunday, May 17th, we will offer 2 worship services, a 10 a.m. service and a 1 p.m. service. There will be worship services only. We come together for the purpose of assembling as God's children and as the church here in Bowden. The reason we have divided into 2 separate services is because of the social distancing policy. We encourage everyone to attend the services as long as you feel doing so would not jeopardize your health, would not jeopardize the health of anyone else, and would not go against anything that our local authorities have implemented. We know that there are some shelter-in-place restrictions that are still there for those certain groups, those elderly patients or elderly individuals who may be members, some who may be sick, some who may be suffering from long-term things, and certainly want to remember and consider their particular situations. If you do not feel comfortable, we will still offer our worship services being streamed live as we have done since we have not been able to assemble together. That worship service will be available on a YouTube channel. One of the things we keep in mind that as we come back together and as we offer our worship services with some restrictions in place, we will also keep in mind that we encourage families to sit together, but we also encourage maintaining that 6-foot social distancing policy, maintaining the individuality. So as you come in the building, if you're coming to worship services at either the 10 a.m. or the 1 p.m. service, we encourage you to pick up your communion supplies that are individually prepared and sealed on a table as you enter the building. For that purpose, only our front door will be open. It will be the only access point into and out of the building. And you'll be directed inside where the communion supplies are. We're also going to provide some face masks in limited numbers, and we encourage those who do not have face masks to pick up one. If you have one, bring your own if you feel comfortable in doing so. Pick up one, and you can keep your face mask, take it back home and launder it. We're doing this for the protection of everyone there. Keeping in mind that good hygiene, washing your hands often, soap and water, authorities tell us that this kills the COVID-19 virus relatively easily. So therefore, we encourage you to practice good hygiene practices. We're going to have hand sanitizer available as well. We're going to disinfect and clean our building after each worship service. That will include wiping down all hard surfaces with a good disinfectant and spraying down our furniture, our chairs, and our padded equipment with a disinfectant surface cleaner as well. So keep in mind we're taking all precautions that we can possibly take as the eldership here, considering all the things that have gone on to limit the spread of this awful virus. We urge everyone to continue to pray for each other, pray for the church here. We urge you to pray for our nation as a whole. And as you worship, we encourage you also to keep in mind, if you have smaller children, try to keep your family units together. We're accustomed to handshakes and hugs, and one of the things that we as the eldership would ask that you do is to maintain that 6-foot social distancing, and for the time being, we won't practice handshakes and hugs. We ask you to limit that. We all like to fellowship, and one of the things the elders have considered is due to the fact that we're going to be back inside of the building, and in our building in particular, we know that there are areas that people like to socialize, to talk, and sometimes these areas tend to get crowded. So we ask that we all, at the end of worship services, we all exit the building, from beginning with the back rows first, exiting out to the outside. And if we want to visit, if we want to talk, we maintain that social distancing on the outside, out in the parking lot, so that we allow our building to be cleaned as quickly as possible, getting ready for the next service. So we want to make sure we follow that. Always remember that the safety, health, and well-being, both spiritually, both physically, emotionally, any of those needs, the eldership here is bound to watch over the flock and protect the flock. We ask that you continue to remember each and every family who's been affected by this awful disease in any way, whether it be loss of a job, whether it be some other awful means of either being sick or being affected by it in any way. Keep them in your prayers. Keep our state, our community, and keep our nation in your prayers. We pray that God will soon allow an end be brought to this awful suffering. Thank you.